So I want to focus on two global collaborations. You've learned about a variety up to this point, but there's two formal collaborations that I want to focus on. And those are collaborative degrees, also known as joint or dual degree programs, and international branch campuses or extended campuses. Collaborative degrees. Collaborative degrees may be referred to as joint or dual degree programs, where an American institution partners with a foreign institution. The basic idea is to provide students with opportunities to study in two different locations. The collaborative nature of this relationship encourages study abroad and the recruitment of international students. A byproduct of this shared degree program agreement is the collaboration that exists between faculty to faculty and staff to staff, which is probably less talked about. Let me give you a couple examples. An example of a collaborative degree may consist of international students studying 9 graduate credit hours for a semester in the United States, living on campus, eating in a dining facility, working at a facility relevant to their academic discipline, interacting with other American and international students, both in class and through student life and co-curricular activities. The home institution would be responsible for conferring the degree. However, the visiting institution may develop some certificate. It may even be a token certificate as a tangible component to the agreement. Faculty at the visiting institution may consider curricular adjustments and experiential learning opportunities for the cohort of international students that are visiting. Staff at the International Advisement Office, Registrar's Office, Housing, and other functional areas must be involved with this process, this exchange, if you will. And although these students would be defined as transient international students, they must still be accepted into the visiting institution and complete all the procedural formalities as any other student would be expected to do so. Now, there are benefits and challenges to collaborative degrees. The benefit is that the partnership can be developed and implemented in a relatively short amount of time. The agreement is less intrusive on any one entity, and the infrastructure already exists. The cost is relatively minimal when compared to other collaboration efforts, such as starting a branch campus. The group for which you are responsible is small and planning is centralized. Competing value systems and politics are less likely to derail a collaborative partnership because, again, it's smaller in scale. American universities benefit after the student completes the degree, hopefully through future enrollment gains and philanthropic giving. But like I said, there's challenges to these collaborative degree programs. Global collaborations are typically received with youthful optimism. However, there are a series of complexities and drawbacks to these collaborations that often result in one or more of the parties leaving unfulfilled or dissatisfied with the experience. Merging two curriculums, overcoming a language barrier, merging administrative processes and fees in the fee schedule, tuition and fee schedule, maintaining a mutually desired level of rigor, overcoming an imbalance of interest, typically on the American side. We've talked about that. Ensuring accreditation standards are fulfilled. Assessing learning outcomes. Logistical planning. Maintaining renewed interest in the long term. Although it's smaller in scope and can be developed more quickly, there's still challenges to these joint programs. Now, the other formal collaboration that I want to talk about is international branch campuses, IBCs. IBCs may also be referred to as extended campuses. American universities and a small number of colleges and technical schools have established branch campuses throughout the world. There's approximately 70 to 80 American higher ed institutions that make up about a third of all sending higher ed institutions with branch campuses. Now, I say approximately because anytime you're dealing with a larger agreement, such as an IBC, there's a number of geopolitical influences that may cause an institution to close its doors permanently or temporarily. So this number does fluctuate. Over the last decade, China has gained a significant market share, especially in the Middle East. The basic idea is to allow international students the opportunity to receive an Americanized post-secondary education in their own region of the world, foregoing the burden of expenses associated with international travel and study. I mentioned GATS earlier, which was the General Agreement on Trade and Services. A partner in that was Panama. As a result of GATS, Panama created an education-free zone. Panama's willingness to allow foreign institutions the opportunity to establish branch campuses has widely been held as a catalyst for its economic prosperity over the last couple decades. Educational free zones are judicious about what academic programs sending institutions are allowed to offer. This restrictive nature helps avoid competition between institutions and hopefully increases the likelihood of a long-term partnership. Florida State, Empire State, University of Louisville are just a few of the institutions that have branch campuses in Panama City. A good friend of mine, who works as an associate professor at the University of Louisville, has spent several semesters teaching in this education-free zone. He explains that the international cultural diversity and economic prosperity surrounding this education-free zone mirrors that academic utopia, the learning hub, if you will, that the World Trade Organization had envisioned with this GATS agreement. 4 years ago, I had a graduate student create a 2-week study abroad experience through Empire State in Panama City, Panama. When she returned, she described the experience similarly to the way my friend at the University of Louisville had described his experience. She saw it as an economic hub rich with innovation, an experience that she'll never forget. Now, again, with any kind of collaboration, there's benefits and challenges. Global visibility and prestige, regional hub for recruitment, potential for revenue, opportunities for innovative and sponsored research, experiential learning for domestic students are all benefits to international branch campuses. But then there's challenges. Higher education institutions are hesitant to invest money in extended campuses. The expansion that occurs today is likely associated with a higher education institution that possesses a formidable experience with establishing an extended or branch campus. The likelihood of failure is great for a number of reasons. Government hostility, competition among other institutions, high startup and sustainability cost, limits to English language capacity, ever-changing or unstable arrangements due to shifts in political and financial circumstances, burdens on faculty and staff at the sending institution. The greatest challenge is balancing American standards with the expectations of locals and active partners. So let me give you an example. If private investors or the regional government desires to see a quick return on investment, meaning higher enrollments and a fast progression through the program, the faculty and infrastructure may be unable to sustain such a model over time. Let me give you another example of a challenge when it comes to international branch campuses. An acquaintance of mine named Denny Roberts, pretty popular guy in student affairs, used to serve as a vice president at a university in Qatar. The last time I spoke with Denny, he shared about the constant struggle between the student output at an Americanized IBC and the cultural conflict of a Muslim-ran Middle Eastern society. Now, Denny worked in Qatar for several years and has noticed progress with the local government's leniency on student life and housing practices. Genders are still unable to intermingle, but student life programming can now target females. He said this was non-existent when he first started as a practitioner in the Middle East. But it still gives you a pretty good understanding that establishing an IBC is a very arduous process that has a number of different cultural complexities exceeding those of simply establishing an extended or a branch campus here in the United States.